Welcome, everyone, to a Wednesday episode of the Call Sheet Podcast here at the Fans First Sports Network. I'm your host, Kevin Smith. It is the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. It's a great night, man. Wednesday night, the Wednesday night before Thanksgiving when I was younger, that was a big party night. Big party night, a lot of going out, a lot of meeting up with friends. As I get older, I'm much more content to be at home. Tonight, big cooking night. Got a huge group coming to my house tomorrow, 25, 30 people coming over. I'm doing all the cooking, most of the cooking anyway. So tonight, a lot of prep work. It's like the night before a big game. It feels that way anyway. So happy Thanksgiving to all of you out there. And today's show, hope that this is an interesting show for you. Great show to listen to while you're maybe running some errands, running to the supermarket, stocking up for tomorrow, doing some cooking yourself. Because we're going to take a deep dive today on what advanced metrics can tell us about quarterback play in the NFL in 2025. When I say advanced metrics, we're going to focus on two numbers. And I'll kind of break those two down for you. We're going to talk about EPA and success rate. What do they mean? Why are they important to measure? And what can we learn by looking at the numbers about both quarterback play individually and also NFL offenses based upon those who have the best and the worst EPA and success rate numbers in the league? Now, in all sports, there's been this huge push towards advanced metrics. I mean, credit Billy Beane and the Moneyball A's 20 years ago, maybe with initiating this trend, which has now trickled down into all sports. And it feels like a million different ways to measure or to gauge the way an individual is playing or that individual's efficiency, effectiveness, etc. This is not to say that conventional statistics don't matter. If you look at the conventional numbers in the NFL, you can still get a pretty good idea about who's playing really well at the quarterback position. Let's just look at a couple real quick. Yards passing, very conventional way of measuring quarterback play. If you look at the top 5 in passing yards this year, in order, Drake May, Patrick Mahomes, Dak Prescott, Daniel Jones, Matthew Stafford. Well, those are 5 of the guys playing the quarterback position at the highest level in the league right now. The same is true as if you look at quarterback rating. Again, 1 through 5. Stafford, Lamar Jackson, May, Jared Goff, Sam Darnold. 5 guys, again, playing the position at a really high level. One more conventional metric. Touchdown passes. Stafford leads the league with 30. Dak Prescott is next. Then you got Jared Goff, Drake May, and Aaron Rodgers at number 5. Those are all elite players at the quarterback position. However, those types of raw numbers can sometimes be a little bit deceiving. Yards passing, for example, doesn't take into context the opponent, the situation. Maybe you piled up 400 some yards against a really bad defense. Maybe you fell behind by a lot and had to throw the ball 50 some times to catch up, and you piled up a bunch of yards as a result. Touchdown passes. It's easy to throw a couple of them late in a game or in blowout contests that pad the stats but don't necessarily give us a complete picture. They can give us a good picture. Again, no one will dispute that all the names I just rattled off are undeserving of being considered among the best in the league. There aren't any outliers there. But if we want a little more context as to why particular quarterbacks are playing the position well, or what specifically they're doing that's allowing them to play at a high level, then we need to bring in some of the advanced metrics. They're very useful. So let's look at these two, EPA and success rate. EPA has become really sort of the hot measurement in football circles for gauging a lot of different things. It stands for expected points added. And it's a stat that shows how much a play changes a team's scoring chances. So instead of just looking at raw yards gained, EPA is considering context, things like down and distance and field position, time remaining on the clock. So as an example, if you gain 5 yards on 3rd down and 4, that particular play is going to have a higher EPA because it keeps a drive alive and it increases your chances of scoring. You know, those same 5 yards on 2nd and 12 don't matter as much because on 2nd and 12, if you gain 5 yards, you're now left with 3rd and 7, which has a relatively low success rate in terms of your ability now to convert and thus keep the drive alive. So your expected points after a certain play can vary based upon the context of that play. And so what really is being measured with EPA are impact plays. Impact plays that move an offense closer to scoring in some meaningful fashion as opposed to just raw accumulated yardage. So when we look at the leaders in the league right now in EPA, it's very interesting. The names aren't that different than the ones I just read, those that are succeeding in traditional metrics. But the EPA numbers are very telling. Number 1, Drake May. Drake May, quarterback of the NFL leading. I mean, it still feels a little bit weird actually to say this about the New England Patriots. But I mean, the New England Patriots are arguably the best team in the NFL right now. I mean, the Patriots are 10-2. They got a 9-game winning streak. They're not running away with the AFC East, but they've got a 2-game lead plus a win over the Buffalo Bills. Under first-year head coach Mike Vrabel, they've been fantastic, and Drake May has elevated himself in just his second year into the MVP conversation. I mean, Drake May is playing MVP football. His EPA this year, expected points added, is 98.8. So Drake May and the Patriots offense have added 98 points this season to their drives, their possessions, because of their ability to make impact plays that influence scoring. And that is really telling because what it really tells us specifically is this. The Patriots aren't just moving the football on offense. They're making explosive plays. They're converting 3rd downs. They're making plays, the plays they need to make in order to increase their scoring chances. I think a really simple way of understanding it is like this. They're making clutch plays. EPA is a great way of evaluating who's making clutch plays, who's doing well when you need to make a play to keep a drive alive, to score a touchdown, etc. At number 2 in EPA is Patrick Mahomes, 97.6. Jordan Love at 94.4 is 3. Then it kind of drops off 4 and 5. Daniel Jones, 77.7. Josh Allen, 76.2. Those are the quarterbacks for extremely successful teams. The 10-2 Patriots, the 6-5 Chiefs, although I don't think anybody really sees the Chiefs as a 6-5 team. Jordan Love and Green Bay, I think they're 7-3-1 right now, 7-4-1 or 6-3-1. That might be the record. 7-3-1. Just looked at it. The 7-3-1 Packers, the 8-3 Colts, and the 7-4 Bills. So I mean, you've got some obviously very good football teams there. At the bottom of the EPA ladder, who are the worst quarterbacks in the league in terms of EPA? Well, the bottom 5 in descending order: Spencer Rattler, Bryce Young, Joe Flacco, Geno Smith, Cam Ward. Well, they are quarterbacks of 5 of the worst teams in football, Carolina accepted. And this is not just a reflection on these individuals as quarterbacks. It's a reflection on their offenses as a whole. And obviously, the offenses in places like Tennessee or Las Vegas or New Orleans are really bad. I mean, the Raiders just fired Chip Kelly, their OC. The Titans have already fired their head coach. The other metric that's really interesting is success rate. Success rate measures how often plays are successful at keeping the offense on schedule. I mean, it doesn't calculate points, but it instead looks at whether the individual play, gained enough yards based upon the down and distance. So what constitutes success rate? Or some other people simply refer to this as efficiency. What makes an efficient play? Well, a successful first down play is one that gains at least 40% of the needed yards. So we're talking about, on a traditional 1st and 10, 4 yards or more. Let's say you got a holding penalty and it's now 1st and 20. Well, in order to be an efficient first down play, you need to gain 8 yards. A second down play gains at least 60% of the remaining yards. So if it's 2nd down and 8, it gains 60% of that, which is roughly 5 yards. And a successful 3rd and 4th down play converts the down, whether that means gaining a first down or scoring, right, if you're in a goal-to-go situation. What a high success rate means is that a team is consistently moving the chains. They're consistently staying in favorable positions. You hear the phrase ahead of the chains. They're ahead of the chains. They're behind the chains. That's really talking about efficiency and success. Consistency rather than explosiveness. So if EPA measures explosiveness and impact plays, success rate measures consistency and your ability to be efficient. And when we look at the most successful quarterbacks in the league, it's not a surprise. I mean, maybe there's one surprise in there. Number 1, Sam Darnold. 52.9% of the snaps taken by Sam Darnold this year have been efficient or successful. And by the way, there are varying metrics on what a target goal is. Generally speaking, though, 40% is usually considered what you want to shoot for in terms of your success rate. A little bit higher on first downs, a little bit lower on third downs, because obviously the down and distance on third downs can vary. You want to be more like it towards the 45% range on first downs, a little lower on third downs. Darnold's at almost 53% for the season. The 2 San Francisco quarterbacks, Mac Jones and Brock Purdy, are both that. Purdy doesn't technically have enough snaps to qualify, but if he did, he would be 3. Jones would be 2. So you sandwich those two together. The San Francisco quarterbacks combined are at a 52.7% success rate. That speaks to the fact that they're both playing pretty good football, but also, boy, that San Francisco system, that Kyle Shanahan system, knows how to find success, knows how to sustain drives. Daniel Jones is 3 at 51.9%. Drake May is 4. Patrick Mahomes is 5. Mahomes is at 50.1%. Those are the only 5 quarterbacks, if we, again, sandwich the San Francisco quarterbacks together, that are over 50% for the season. All right, who's on the bottom? Who's our bottom 5? Bottom 5, descending order: Geno Smith, Aaron Rodgers, Bo Nix, Joe Flacco, Cam Ward. Couple of surprises maybe in there at the bottom. Aaron Rodgers, little bit of a surprise. Pittsburgh's offense is not very good. But the reason this is a little bit surprising is they're actually scoring some points. I mean, the Steelers are averaging almost 26 points per game. That's top 12 in the NFL. But they don't create explosives. And they don't have a high EPA. They're bottom 5 in the league in explosives. So if they're not sustaining drives, if they have a low success rate, but they're also not creating explosive plays, how are they scoring so many points? Well, the answer is turnovers. The defense has produced the second most turnovers in the NFL. So they're hooking the offense up with really good field position by turning over opposing offenses. Otherwise, their offense has a low EPA and a low success rate. In other words, it stinks. Pittsburgh's offense stinks. Bo Nix. Now that's fascinating because here you have the 9-2 Broncos, one of the most successful teams in the league, a team that on the surface looks like it's really good on offense. I mean, the Broncos are a high-scoring team as well, right? Why are the Broncos such a high-scoring team? How can the Broncos score so many points, yet at the same time not be particularly successful? Again, using that as a measurement. Well, because they lead the league in explosive plays. They're extremely explosive. Denver has the second most punts in the NFL, yet they're 4th in the NFL in scoring. That's fascinating. What does that mean? That means Bo Nix is making big plays. He's 7th of qualifying quarterbacks in EPA, and he is 2nd overall as an individual in explosive pass plays. So that's fascinating. When you deep dive into these advanced metrics, you find some really interesting things. Hey, that Denver offense is really good. It's a top 5 scoring offense in the NFL. But they have the second most punts in the entire league. How do those two things jibe? Well, when you look at their EPA and their explosive play rate, you figure it out. They have a lot of 3 and outs. They have a lot of drives that don't really go anywhere. But then they hit big plays and they score in bursts. And that explains a lot of their success. So what do we take from all this? Well, there are a few names that have shown up at the top of the list, regardless of whether we're using advanced metrics or conventional metrics. Drake May, his name is there. Mahomes, his name is there. Stafford's name is there. Sam Darnold shows up more on the advanced side than the conventional side, but he's there on the conventional side as well, 5th in quarterback rating. Daniel Jones shows up on both. These are guys who are leading some of the most successful teams in the league, and we have known that they have been playing good quarterback for almost the entire season. But what the advanced metrics show us is how they're doing it. Darnold is doing it with consistency. Darnold is doing it by staying on schedule. He has the highest success rate of any quarterback in the league. He is piloting an offense that moves the chains. Doesn't necessarily make explosives, but they string drives together. On the flip side, a quarterback like Bo Nix is doing it with the explosives. They're not consistent. They don't string drives together, but they make big plays. So it's interesting. If you're a defense and you look at these numbers, you say to yourself, how do we stop the Seahawks? Well, we got to get them off the field on 3rd down. Seattle's got the 2nd highest 3rd down conversion rate in the NFL. They're really good on 3rd downs. They're good on 1st and 2nd downs too. But on 3rd down in particular, if you can get that Seattle offense off the field, you got to get them off the field. If you're playing Denver, it's a different story. You got to stop the big plays. When the Broncos don't make big plays on offense, they don't score a lot. They're kind of like the opposite of the Steelers. The Steelers need to turn you over on defense to score. When the Steelers turn teams over, they win. They beat the Patriots back in week 3. Even though the Patriots outgained them by 2-1. The Patriots had 400 some yards of offense. The Steelers had 200 some yards of offense. Why did the Steelers win the game? they created 5 turnovers. They turned the Patriots over 5 times, and they cashed those in. When you look at Drake May, he is the guy more than any quarterback in the league who shows up at the top of all of these lists. All the categories I just talked about, conventional, advanced, he's there. Conventional metrics, he's number 1 in passing yards. He's number 3 in quarterback rating. He's number 4 in touchdown passes. Advanced metrics, he's number 1 in EPA. He's number 4 in success rate. He's the only quarterback in the NFL on all 5 of those lists. Not even Mahomes. Mahomes is not top 5 in touchdown passes or in quarterback rating. So if we had to make an argument for league MVP, based on both team success and the individual metrics, it would be pretty hard to argue against Drake May. He is the starting quarterback for the team with the best record in the NFL, and he is the quarterback with the best measurables, regardless of what types of metrics you're using. Drake May, what a sophomore year he's having. All right, that's our deep dive on metrics and what they tell us about quarterback play in the NFL. Hope that was interesting for you. Lots of football on tap tomorrow. Can't wait. It's a great slate of games. Boy, some really good Thanksgiving Day games teed up for us. I don't have the schedule right in front of me. Actually, here it is right here. I'm going to look right now. I mean, the Thanksgiving Day lineup is really, I think, we're in for some treats here. We're looking at, bear with me 2 seconds. Green Bay at Detroit, great rivalry game. Kansas City at Dallas. That's going to be fantastic, particularly with the way the Cowboys offense is playing. And then the nightcap, Cincinnati at Baltimore. Maybe that's not as good a game, but Joe Burrow's coming back, and that'll really, juice that one up. So bunker in, man. Eat up, drink up, football up. Going to be a great day. So until Friday then, hope everybody has a great one. Take care, everyone.